All right. We are live. You are back. It is Jack Murphy. This is Jack Murphy Live, doing a live interview with Justin Dunlap. Justin, how are you,
Hello.
sir?
I'm all right. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Justin Dunlap is, if you don't know, he was on the street the night of the shooting in Portland a few days ago. And he was live streaming, and so we want to just have a chance to chat with you, Justin, and see how things look from your end. But before we get into all that, man, I want to just find out a little bit about your background and this just streaming and stuff. Like, how long have you been doing that? Like, how did you get into the streaming? Like, why? Where did it all start?
My kid wanted to go down to the protests, and she's young, so I was like, "You're not going alone. I'll go with you." And I just held my phone up and started streaming to my Facebook page, just a Facebook Live. That's where I've done all those streams.
No.
And it was funny because we got to see the speeches, we got to share them with people who, due to whatever age, distance, worries about being in a crowd with COVID-19 being an issue nowadays, whatever their reason for not being able to go down there, they could still see and experience and be a part of what was going on and witness it. And plus to show like people everywhere that Portland isn't burning. It's not on fire. It's not, we got clean streets and beautiful artwork, and there's just a couple of blocks worth of a thing that are happening.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
that's where it all started.
I hear you on that. In Washington, D.C., there's a lot of stuff going on too, but it's not like it's in every single area of the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's in concentrated zones, and there's a real focus on it. So, like, how long ago was the first time you went down to live stream on the protests?
I think it was, I'm not even sure anymore. I think it was either the end. You know what? It was the middle of July, because Riot Ribs had already happened. Like that had already been started. So it was middle, like third week in July or something.
What's Riot Ribs?
Oh, Riot Ribs, man. So you saw the footage of Portland the whole time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was live streams happening in the park right across from the federal building. There were all those tents set up that they were feeding free food to everybody all day long, every day. And it was a community kitchen where if you were down there to protest, if you were indigent or houseless, or if you were just walking around downtown seeing the sights and wanted a snack, you could go up and get ribs, burgers, pulled pork. They had corn on the cob. The people from around the city would donate food or barbecue grills or whatever they could to help feed what was going on. And it was all started by this dude Lorenzo, and he just was like, I actually got to sit down for almost an hour with him one night when I was down there. I was down there to just film like the artwork around, and he's like, "Man, is that a selfie stick? What is that stick?" Because I just have like a crappy old selfie stick is all I have. I don't have a gimbal. I don't have any of the cool stuff that you need to put a quality shot together. He's like, "What is that stick?" I'm like, "Oh man, I got it at the Big Lots for like $8, you know?" And he's like, "That's cool. You know who I am?" I was like, "No, I don't." He's like, "I started Riot Ribs." And I sat down and listened to him like cross-legged on the concrete, like a little kid listening to Santa Claus list off all the snacks he was going to put in the stocking, you know? I was just, and I just held my phone on him and let him talk for like an hour. And it was those little interactions that I was down there for. I wasn't, sure, there was the tear gas and the mace and all that stuff, but it was just those odd interactions that kept me coming back. And he started on July 4th with just like a little Weber, and he started making ribs and handed them out to people that were protesting the police violence. And the cops, I think he said the cops tear gassed him out of his spot like 4 times, and he kept coming back, and he'd just go back to cooking ribs and have them all ready for go when the people came back in, and he kept feeding them all day long. And it grew into this like around the corner, and then it got to be tents, and then it was in the park, and it was like 9 pop-up tents, like 10 by 10 pop-up tents, and they had a full-on kitchen going where they were prepping, doing all the stuff, and just making tons of food and giving it
So
away.
they have a similar setup in DC too. There's all kinds of guys cooking and giving away food and supplies, and just I mean, you can get deodorant and sandwiches, and especially back in the right after the George Floyd incident, there was a lot more people out. So there were like local restaurateurs would come down. There's food trucks. Ice cream truck was blaring music for a long time.
Was the ice cream truck just giving it away free too?
Just giving it away free too.
You know, and that's community coming together as a voice.
Yes, there's definitely a lot of that going on. And when you talk to Lorenzo, I mean, things like that, did you have a chance, as you're going down there to like get to know people down on the scene, and like you start seeing the same people over and over again, etc.? Like you start to get to know people down there?
A little bit, but I wasn't in tune enough with it. Like you recognize the other streamers. Like there's Saul Luna, DeAndre Marquis. There's CJ He's a very recognizable person. Trey Stewart. There's a lot of streamers that you start to recognize, and you're like, oh, Eric Greatwood had Pole Patrol forever. You start to recognize those people, but for the most part, everybody's in gas masks, or at the very least face cloths. So like recognizing someone, if you don't know them already, like if they're not a friend of yours, you're like, oh, hey, you're down here tonight too. Cool, bud. I'm going to keep walking around with my dumb selfie stick. Here we go. So it was just very few people that I interact with on a continual or return basis, because everybody's in gas masks and running from the feds at that point.
Right. Yeah. I mean, did you start to see common threads in like the face masks and like the sort of, I want to say, uniforms?
You could tell when the shops got restocked with certain face masks.
Yeah.
Or when like and Amazon got their order back in, because you'd see like brand new face masks of the same kind on a ton of people.
Like which kind? Can you describe them for us?
I don't. Most of them were the ones that had like the clear visor right here, and they're just like all one piece, and they've got the big screw on rebreather apparatus. They got like a drinking straw you can hook your Camelback into the side of it, like that one that looks like, I don't know, it looks like looks Czechoslovakian or something, I think is where they were getting them. They were like, oh no, the Czech masks are the best. They're super great. The drinking tube works good and you can clean it easy. You hear like little reports like that, and you're just like, oh, I'm out here I got my gas mask at a paint shop. Right. It's just like a 3M gas. And I have swim goggles that I put under impact resistant, like science lab goggles. That was. I was like, I don't have any money because I'm out of work, because I'm a lighting designer in theater, and our entire industry is shut down. Thank you, COVID-19. You can't put people in seats together, so you can't put on shows. So, thank God for the PUA on top of the unemployment insurance, because that gave enough to, at least I had the $20 to go buy the swim goggles. And the respirator, I had that. So. But yeah, I didn't have $130 to spend on a single full face. The really cool ones though are the ones that's just a big glass all the way around. So like when you look down, you can see down, and then it's got just the face mask piece is separated from the glass. Those are the ones. It's like, oh, you got that good mask.
Where do you think those people are getting that money? I mean, that's a lot of money. When I've seen like a fully kitted out like protester, that whole gear setup costs a good penny.
Well, yeah, you're looking at like $150 for the face mask, and that's really all you need down there.
Yeah,
is if you got the face mask, and shields were coming in by people who like just had wood laying around in their shop, that their shop was shut down because of COVID-19, and they didn't have any orders coming in. So they were like, oh, I'm gonna make you, and it was just 2 chunks of wood. You got a chunk of plywood, and then, well, 2 chunks of wood on the back that were, one you slip your arm through and grab it, and the other one holds onto your arm. So like those things would come out by the dozens every night, and they'd get taken by the law enforcement officials, and then you come back the next night and there's a whole new batch of them freshly painted and ready to go. And water barrels, they were making them out of water barrels. That was because, you know, rain barrels around here are, it's Oregon. Everybody's trying to be ecologically friendly, and they have rain barrels aplenty. And all the people that sell the rain barrels are like, oh, well, it's summertime and my rain barrel sales are going to be jack. I'll cut those into thirds, and you make a shield out, like a round shield out of the bottom, and make 3 shields out of the sides. And then you got, you know, you can deflect flashbangs or whatever they're hucking.
Right,
you know?
Right. Did you know anybody that was making those shields, or did they just show up there? Like,
nah, I wasn't that deep into the scene, you know. I was just a dad with a selfie stick being dumb and walking around. Like, I wear a white helmet. My construction helmet is white, and I just have like pressed in real big and tape on the sides. And I wear an orange shirt, bright orange shirt. I'm like the most visible thing you can see out there. I'm walking around like a sore thumb. So
just trying to stand out.
Yeah, because if you stand out as noticeable, like I'm down here, I'm independent journalist at best. You know, I'm not. Yeah, I'm like a month and a half into the independent journalist game. What is my life? I don't even know. So
believe me, I know the feeling, dude.
But if you stand out like that, then they're like, oh, that's the guy that's always down here in orange. He's not throwing stuff at us. That would be stupid to throw stuff when you're wearing orange. So like they don't shoot at you. It's just it seemed smart. And plus, the reason I started wearing the orange was because you heard of the Wall of Moms, or Moms United for Wall of Moms became Moms United for Black Lives Matter, and they started going down there in force, and the Wall of Vets got behind them, and then the Wall of Dads started, and the moms were in yellow, the vets were in white, and the dads were in orange. So I was like, well, I'm a dad. I wore orange in support for the Black Lives Matter movement. But boom, it was an easy and accidental choice. And then I was like, oh, orange works really well. I'm easily visible, and I'm easy to miss at that point.
Right, so, which is your goal, not to get shot.
I don't want to get shot. They hurt. They hurt. You know, the pepper balls aren't so bad, but that other shit's coming at high velocity, man.
Yeah, I got hit in the throat, one night. Luckily, it had to go through my beard and my cover up. So like
the fierce beard protected.
Yeah, it did.
Nice.
It protected me that night. That was back at the end of May. You said that you're out there. For one hand, your kid wanted you to go down there, and then two, you said that you find some solidarity with the mission, right? Like, have you been involved with or supported? Like, what's been your take on Black Lives Matter and stuff as it's been rolling out over the last couple of years?
I didn't really know enough about it until this summer when the George Floyd killing happened. Then I was like, that's terrible. That the police killings are an awful thing that needs to be stopped. And this is a movement that I can agree with that. I can agree with all lives need to be respected in the same way. And when we can up the game to Black Lives Mattering as much as everybody else, oh, my camera's over here, then that equality, that's what we're working for. That's equality of all human beings. You know, whether you're man, woman, gay, straight, black, white, wherever you come from. If you're from Mars and you get here, cool, bud, come on in. We're going to treat you the same. That's where we need to be as a society so that we can move forward in a healthy way. You know, and I didn't know enough about it at the time, and I didn't start getting into knowing more about it until then. And so I I just am trying to help get their message known and out there in a more clear fashion. And I'm like, I've not been involved other than like if they've got a particular march going on that I can go walk along with and just hold my camera and be another, be another body in there to help at least make it safer. Because if there's more people, then hopefully there's less violence. That's my theory on it. I don't know how well it's working out now.
Yeah, I find in Washington D.C. more people, more violence. Actually, when the crowds are smaller and there's fewer people, then the cops are chiller and everything seems to be chiller.
Yeah, that's Portland. The cops don't seem to care as much. If it's 200 people, they'll come out with the same amount of numbers as they do against 700 people. So, it's like, oh, we've only got 200 people tonight. Let's go rah, rah, rah. And then, it's an unlawful assembly. Now it's a riot, and we're going to come out and we're going to push you wherever we want you to go.
Yeah.
And
I've been in the middle of that myself. So you said that you began to learn more about it this summer. How did you go about like learning more? Like what were your resources, or how'd you figure these things out?
My daughters, they are woke little ladies. They're like, hey, this is what it is. This is what it is. And then you just go to the.
Are they over 18?
One is.
Okay. I don't want to ask you about your kids really, but like you've got a kid over 18 who is a woke little girl. Is a woke kid, is what you said.
Yeah, she's very in tune with equal rights of all flavors. And she points me in the direction of things that ought to be known, and she helps me see, okay, this is jacked up about that situation. This is okay about that situation. And then I'll take that information and dig a little bit deeper into it and be like, oh, my kid's smart. Dang, she researched this. And she actually, she's studying to be a media producer for like electronic media. So she wants to do podcasts and produce podcasts and stuff like this. So she digs into news for the accuracy. So that's, she's my trusted source. She got a big brain.
I'm proud of my kids too, man. That is for sure. They teach me stuff all the time. I'll never forget the moment at which they actually became a resource for me rather than the other way around. Yeah.
First time I had to ask my kid how to play a video game, he made fun of me, and I was like, I taught you how to use a spoon, but
yeah, right, exactly.
Don't make fun of me. Don't make fun of me.
Exactly. All dads say the same stuff. So you've had like a summer, a crash course in Black Lives Matter and the protesting this summer, brought to you by your woke, in the nicest sense of the term, daughters. Yeah. And you started attending these protests and some of these unlawful assemblies and eventually the riots, unintentionally, obviously, for the riots. But and you decided to start recording this, and so you've got a selfie stick and you're walking around town at night. Wow, what's the plan? Like, how you get down there, you get your selfie stick. Like, I'm like, is it close to where you live? Do you have to like commute in?
It's like 20 minutes. Okay. It's not that big. I'm in a suburb kind of world. But one of the instigators was that first night we were down there. It was a big rah-rah. There was a lot of yelling and stuff, and there was tons of chants. And I was like, okay, it's midnight. We should go. I'm getting kind of tired. We've been here 5 hours, whatever. Let's go. And my daughter's like, yeah, I'm kind of tired too. And so we went back to the car, and like, as soon as we hit the freeway, it was like 5 minutes after we left, my wife calls and she's like, where are you? I'm like, we're in the car. What's up? And she says, they're tear gassing and flashbanging and all that stuff. And this is 5 minutes after we had left. So we were 5 minutes removed, and I couldn't tell you what caused all that. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go down tomorrow and hang out and my arm had gotten sore because I was just like holding my phone like this, in
Right.
a horizontal mode. Gotta be landscape, no portrait.
Been there.
And I was like, I'm gonna go down tomorrow and stick it out. My daughter's like, no, my feet are tired from last night. I don't want to go down 2 in a row. I'll do 1 on, 1 off, but 2 in a row is a little much. I'm like, okay, cool. I got nothing else to do because out of work theater profession. Support your artists, like rock and roll comedians, all those. Get out there and help support those guys because it's a struggling world. But anyway, back to it. So I was like, my arm's sore. I'm gonna grab this old crappy selfie stick that we've had laying around for 5 years, and I used to make fun of you for using. Aha! Evil for good. Woo! So I just went down and walked around and was down there for the whole time, and they were a lot earlier that night. It was like 10 o'clock. They started popping smoke and pushing people around, and like pepper balls flying, flashbangs, baton rounds started coming out, and I was like, I didn't really see it. They were shaking the fence or whatever, but I didn't see anything that necessitated that kind of response from them. There was some fireworks tossed on the porch. It's a concrete building. Is that the way I would do it? No. But who am I to tell someone how to protest? If I video this, then people will get the real idea and they can decide for themselves, and I don't have to put my spin on it. And you can decide for yourself if you thought that was just a firecracker, if that was trying to burn the building down. That's not for me to decide. And all of a sudden I'm getting, smoke grenades launched head high, whizzing by me. I'm like, okay, this is different. This is kind of sketchy. And that was also around the time that the unmarked vans with the unidentified feds started snatching people off the street. So I was like, if that is going to happen and I can be a camera to see it, maybe that won't happen. Not that they cared. They had tons of them on camera that just got swooped and grabbed. But so just like putting camera to truth, and just it's live streamed. This is what's happening live. I'm not manipulating this in any way, shape, or form. This is what you see is what you get. It's if it's great, if it's savage. I caught a drum circle one night. There was like an hour-long drum circle. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever been a part of. Because out here, there's the Black Lives Matter movement has coordinated, brought in, teamed up with, I don't know how to say it, but the BIPOC community, the Black and Indigenous Peoples of Color community. And out here in Oregon and Washington, we have a huge Native American population and indigenous population, and they're underheard. Their voices aren't as listened to as they could be. And this is where they, generations far beyond anybody ever got to these shores, this is their land, this is their home. So for them to come and offer support and their music and their prayers to the situation, it was such a surreal, beautiful, pretty moment. And it was like an hour, maybe 20 minutes of drum circle. And then right after that, we went over to the Justice Center, and there was a lot of powerful speeches by some educated, like law people, all the way across the board to the super rah, let's go get them. And then everybody went over to the Fed building, which is literally 130 feet that way. So it's not a far walk. And when you've got the feds that are swooping people off the street, we had, like, when the drum circles started, there was maybe 500 people there. And by the time the speeches were over, there was like 7,000. And when that crowd shifted over, like it was Riot Ribs was serving burgers all night long. So
right.
Yeah.
All right. So you've been seeing things progress over time, right? And the guy, we're gonna get to all the details here in just a sec. The guy,
wholly unfortunate event.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call him the shooter because you know, I'm just not about really spreading the names, honestly. But
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
the shooter, he on his Facebook page claimed that he was part of Antifa and anti-fascist. Like, what do you know about that? Do you know? Is that like they have like a real presence in Portland? Like, were
I
they
mean,
down there with Lorenzo? You know, is that
like,
are they on
no.
campus with your daughter or like
So
what's going on?
there's like this whole misconception that Antifa is an organization. It's just it's such there's no membership, there's no leadership, there's not a person that you can go, hey, I would like to, you know, report to your Antifa customer service that there was a problem with your protest last night. It's not that there's not an it's not an entity. It's anti-fascists, Antifa, anti-fascists. It's just people that are against fascists. So like if you're it, it's I don't think they have a club, you know? I mean, I'm against fascists. Are you against fascists?
I mean, who
Like
isn't against fascism?
exactly. So you're Antifa. I'm Antifa. We're Antifa. We're anti-fascists. That's how simple it is. If you're like for a theory that Antifa is a collective of organizations or a collective of people or anything like that, you don't see it. Like they're all like one of the founding ideals of anti-fascism coincides with anarchy, which is all about not having a power structure within it and just everybody is equal, and like that's not a bad ideal. You know, if we're all equal and we're all, you know, all one, like that's kind of what everybody's working for. So like the fact that Antifa has garnered such a bad rap, it's I don't want to say funny, but it's funny to me that like being an anti-fascist has been turned into a bad word.
Sure, sure. Well, it's tough when the shooter, right before he goes out and shoots Jay, says, "I'm Antifa all the way." What do you make of that? What does that mean?
I I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what he was trying to claim. I haven't heard that, so I don't know where I don't know where his mind was with that statement. Like, cool, if you're Antifa all the way, that's that's good on you. But it looks like if you were Antifa all the way, you wouldn't be proclaiming it. Because like if you're Antifa, it's like Fight Club. First rule of Fight Club:
Mm,
you don't talk about Fight Club. You know,
interesting.
so I don't know any I can't say I personally know anybody who's like, oh yeah, I am Antifa. You know, it's like, no, I'm an anti-fascist. Like I don't think fascists have a place in a polite culture and a polite society. You know, so I can't speak as to what his motivations were before that, or why would you say that? Like like
Yeah,
I don't I
it
don't
was
know.
it was very specific, you know, very specific. I am Antifa all the way, and you know that's what gets people's attentions when a guy yells out, "Hey, I'm Antifa all the way," and then he goes out in
Was
the
that
streets and he shoots a
was,
guy.
was that on the other video or something? That's not on my video.
No, it was in in his socials.
Oh yeah, I've never seen the guy's social. Like I don't I don't care to know an individual that could perpetrate such a heinous act. Like
Had you ever seen him around before?
not that I not that I registered. Like I was in Camas the night before. There was a Proud Boy Patriot Prayer thing, and there was a counter protest, and I always like to go down to wherever the action is and try to offer the democracy field trip into whatever's going on. And I actually look back at my video and I have the victim, uh, the poor family. It's horrible. Um, I feel so bad that any of that had to go down. Um,
But what were you
uh,
saying? You saw Jay
Sorry. Yeah,
in
sorry.
Camus?
I saw Jay in Camas. He was hanging out. It was like later on after most of the rest of the gang had left, and he like came riding up on his skateboard, and there was three other Patriot Prayer guys, and like they're telling stories in a little circle and just having a good time, and he's smiling and laughing. And like I just watched that and I cried because like 24 hours later I had a completely different video of that guy, and I like that's so horrible.
So did you know who Jay was when you saw him in Camus?
No, I didn't. I've never been involved with the Patriot Prayer. I've never interacted with them on any kind of level as to know any names other than, sorry,
I got dogs too, man. Big, scary dogs, lots of them, and I leave them unchained when I'm gone. Just FYI.
Big, scary dogs. Mine, I got a Chihuahua, a half size, and a full size. I got like, but no, I've never been anywhere I've never been in a circle to know their names even.
So how did you know that you had filmed Jay the night before?
I went back the next day because somebody had said that they were both in Camus, and I went back to see if I had any interaction with them, and Jay wasn't on my video until like 17 or 18 or something minutes in that night. And then he just comes on his really cool electric scoot board and like skateboard, or I don't know if it was like a thumb trigger skateboard or what, but he just comes cruising up and hangs out and chats with his buddies, and I don't know, 5-7 minutes later he hops on it and rolls back off. And I was like, that was, you know, when as I was looking back on it, I didn't take any notice of him at the time. I didn't know who he was then.
Right.
Until,
so you just went back in the footage and looked for other instances where you might have seen him.
Yeah, because they're just all posted live on my Facebook.
Right.
You know, so I can just go back through, you know, if any of his friends want to see a smiling Jay, it's there in my Camus video. And if you want a good memory, you know, that's rough. That's such a rough thing to like I'm so heartbroken about the fact that violence. I'm not a gun guy. You know.
Yeah. Do you own any firearms?
No.
It's common for people to own firearms in Oregon, though, right?
There are, Oregon and Washington are not afraid of guns at all. There's like Washington has you can open carry and you can get a concealed carry permit, and I think Oregon's the same way. You can open carry as long as it's broadly not covered by a jacket or any of that kind of stuff, and you can open carry all the way up to like AR-15s and stuff like that. So, but yeah, they're very liberal gun policies in Oregon and Washington.
Yeah. And so you're not a violent guy. You're not into it. You don't strike.
I've always held the theory that I'm too pretty to get hit. That's my money maker. Just kidding about that. It doesn't. This does not make me any money.
That's why you're on the tech crew, dude.
Right? Exactly.
Poor Chihuahua's going crazy.
Oh, that's the mid-size. She barks at the other dogs for barking at the fence.
Oh, so there you go.
She's like, I'm tattling on you. I'm tattling on you in the most annoying way possible. I'm tattling on you. So right. No, I'm not a violent man. I've never been one to, like, I think I've been in 2 fights in my entire life, and one of them was my brother and the other one was my best man. So, you know.
On the same night on your wedding?
No. Yeah, I was fighting him off to try to marry. No. Older brother when he was 16 and I was 10, or, in that we're 6 years apart. But, my best man, like, he said something snide about the Cowboys, and I was like, you want to fight? And he was like, let's go. And it was like, we swung on each other and both missed. And we're like, okay, fighting's hard. I don't want to do that anymore.
All right. I've started the video, and you see there's the guys on the scooter. So you saying you saw Jay in there or what?
No. Jay was on a scooter from the night before.
Oh, I see. Okay.
This is the night of the shooting. The night before this.
Yeah.
There was a whole nother video in Camas, which is a little suburb of Vancouver, Washington, which is right across the river from Portland. The Columbia River is the border between Washington and Oregon.
Got it. All right. So here's the video. Start talking us through it. This is, I don't know if you guys out there can hear the audio, but just start talking us through it. This
And
is
so
about 11 or 12 minutes here.
I'd walk down from my car where I'd parked it, like 10 blocks away from here. And this is between the Justice Center and where I'd parked my car. Or the Justice Center is between here and where I'd parked. So I walked to the Justice Center, and there was, you know, reports of the trucks driving through and doing the bear mace out the back and the paintball guns and stuff. And I got word that at 3rd and Washington, which is this intersection, that's where there was some agitation going on, that's where some action. And there's a white truck in here right there.
Yeah.
That truck had driven by me about 5 minutes before and actually like shot paintballs out the window just indiscriminately. I was the only one on the street, and they're just like hucking paintballs out of paintball guns or pepper balls or whatever they were shooting. I don't know. But why are you gonna shoot out of a moving car? And anyway, so
how do you like get word that there's like, oh, action over here or whatever?
Oh, because like I'm live streaming, so people will type into my chats, hey, there's something going on over here, or hey, the feds are coming out on the north side of the building, you might want to move to the south side of the building, you know, that kind of stuff.
Got it.
So they're just typing into my chats, that's the truck, that's the one.
Same white
I think
truck
I'm saying
again.
Yeah, I think I'm saying right here, I was like calling out its license plate or something. I was like, watch out for that truck, because I was. And so anyway, then right here, the dudes that had been yelling at him, I was like, as the tall guy in the beanie, and at this point it was just like, all right, honk honk honk, people yelling Black Lives Matter out the window, and I'm like, yeah, all right, here we go, this is turning into a fun night. No action down here. That burrito looks pretty good. I think I'm gonna go back to the Justice Center.
So when you say you've got this on a selfie stick, like how is the angle changed, right? Like it's like kind of straight up now. Sometimes it's kind of pointing down at the ground. Like how does that
just
happen?
like the way it's in my hand, and like, so when you're holding, like say you're holding the pool cue and you tilt it just a little bit,
Yeah.
and the tip is like 6 inches away, but you only moved your hand like 1/4 of an inch.
Right.
Same thing. The selfie stick's like 5 feet long, and if I tip my hand just a little bit, then it's a totally different angle.
Got it.
And there's a big thing where it's like, don't film faces. People get mad at you, yell at you. Like they'll be like, hey, get away from me with that thing. If you know, point it towards the street. And like we just, streamers get accosted a lot for like having your camera face high.
Right.
If you're face high,
that's something you're careful about, or something you think about.
It just gets me less flack if I have it. Like there's one group of people out of Seattle that's called Concrete Reporting, and because they're always pointing at the concrete until the cops show up, and then they film the cops. So like, you know, they're trying not to incriminate anybody that's at the protests on what they might be doing. They're trying to record the cops doing the messed up stuff that the cops do, you know. So that's, and you know, police are responding in the way that they're trained and their protocols say. So it's if it's aggressive, they've been trained to be aggressive, and maybe retraining is a thing that can happen. But
right,
that's a whole nother issue.
When did you figure out that you need to like avoid people's faces with the streaming?
It was like 4 weeks ago. We were over by the PPA, the Portland Police Authority, their union building, and they had pushed us like 7 blocks into a park, and like we're, you know, over the course of 30 minutes, they tear gas push, all after Ted Wheeler said there wasn't going to be any more tear gas, by the way. He's Portland's police commissioner as well as the mayor. That's an oddity. I don't think that's commonplace. But so we had gotten in, they'd pushed us all the way to a park, and then the cops got on their riot van, and like I'm standing there just filming the cops, and as they're leaving, they throw like 8 smoke grenades, just the white smoke, not tear gas. They throw like 8 smoke grenades right at my feet. Like I'm in orange with a white helmet. You could not have asked for a better target. And they're just like going off. I'm like, hey, these pants were hardly even dirty yet, you know? And it's full of smoke from head to toe. I'm like in the cloud. And I got my swim goggles on and my impact glasses and my mask. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm a wizard. I'm in all the smoke, you know, like
Right.
goofy stuff like that. I'm like, ho, 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 ho. And then I'm walking around and like, there's almost always a guy that has like a wheelie speaker, you know, and he's playing the Emperor's March from Star Wars when the cops come out, or when they retreat, he plays the charge, you know, back to the location. Here we go. And so he's playing like I Will Survive or something, and there's a dance party going on, and I'm like, oh my god, look at all this dance party. And this girl comes up and she's like, what are you doing? Why are you filming people's faces? I'm like, it's a party. I'm showing the party. You're gonna get us all busted. And like was totally in my face. And I was like, okay, sorry, cool, I'll go high. You go low, I'll go high. Great. Sorry about that. And so that was like, okay, lesson learned. I'll try to keep your faces off because you don't want to get busted for having an umbrella, because that's a thing that's illegal at protests now.
Right. Hey man, I say this as somebody who enjoys the 420 and some beers occasionally. Is there any chance that you were like high or intoxicated at all while you were out on the night this night?
Not even a little bit. With COVID times and the loss of the job and having to get ready for a new job, got to clean up, got to be able to pass the UA, you know? So I quit that like right when the job stopped, because it's fully legal on the West Coast. So it's all recreational. You can go right down to the corner store and pick it up. This guy in the Crocs right here,
yeah,
that's the guy that was yelling at me at the end of the video. You got to turn that in. You got to turn that in. That's the guy.
Okay, let's talk about that then.
Yeah.
I mean, we might as well. That guy followed you up the street, I guess, or what?
I think
happened randomly.
He was ahead of the action. He came, I think. I don't know where he was. He wasn't anywhere else. Like I've poured over this footage trying to find who was where, when they did what. And that guy's not in front of me at any other point. And then he just shows up beside me at the end, screaming at me about, you got to give that to the cops. I'm like, I'm gonna, bud. I've got mace in my eyes. I can't talk because of the mace. My hand is raised. This hand, my left hand, my right hand's on the selfie stick. And when they're asking, does anybody have footage? My left hand was raised up the whole time, waiting for them to clear the scene and get attention to the victim. And as soon as they saw me, they came over and I shut down the stream. And because when you close it out on Facebook Live, that's where you can save it and share it. And that way I could go back and tell them, hey, go to my Facebook page. It's right there. And they're like, okay, can you show us the part in the video? And I had to like scrub through the video, all while I've still got mace in my face. Like I had a souvenir towel in my backpack, and they gave me a bottle of water, and I dabbed some of the mace away so that I could scrub through. Like I'm like crying at my phone, still coughing and stuff. And I got to the point in the video, and the cop is over my shoulder, and he's got his phone. He takes a video of my phone playing the video, and then he calls it in, and he's like, okay, what's your name? Justin Dunlap. What's your Facebook? Justin Dunlap. He like kind of looks at me like, that's a stupid thing to do. And I'm like, well, that's happened. So here we are. And he's calling it into their technology division, whatever they call it. I can't remember, internet technology division or something. And I can hear her responding on the radio. Okay, we've got him. Okay, yes, we see it. Okay, yes, it's there. Okay, here we go. At that point, they have my stream. They've got my evidence in their hands, all before I ever got like washed out with mace, got my face washed by, because 20 minutes or so later, the medics had gotten done taking care of the victim, and they came over and like hit me with some soap and rags and like baby wipes, and they got special stuff that they use. I guess it came out of a bottle I'd never seen before. And
Right. Well,
They
let
washed
me
me
ask
up.
you about that moment, though. I mean, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but you brought it up. So,
Carts ahead of the horse.
yeah, the carts ahead of the horse. Do you work around like loud sounds or gunshots or
I'm a rock and roll lighting designer. I stand in front of PAs all day, like giant audio systems. I'm deaf as a post, like my wife and kids are like, hey, I'm like, yeah, I can hear you now. We've been yelling at you for 5 minutes, like I've been doing it for 22 years. And I started touring as a lighting designer in 98. So yeah, I'm around loud things often. Every time they check a PA and they don't have stuff hooked up right and it goes plop, I'm right there in front of it,
Have you ever been around? Have you ever been in the presence of a weapon discharge like that?
No.
Never.
No. I mean, all the flashbangs and the tear gas canisters and all that stuff being lobbed by the feds and the cops down there, but it's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
It's a totally different sound. It's way sharp. It's way loud.
Yeah, describe
totally
the sound of the bullets and then describe your reaction.
So the first thing I saw was and I told the cops, and I firmly believed that it was like a second and a half between the mace and the gunshots. I firmly believed that at the time. And I go back and watch the video and I'm like, you're wrong. Your brain is wrong.
Yeah.
Your brain slowed down time for you in that moment to help protect you from the whatever was going on. And like your brain does that in traumatic situations, if you break your arm, your brain will fill you with endorphins to help you out, that kind of stuff. And so bear mace, like I saw the whole stream, because when I heard the yelling, that's the first time I registered that there was even anything over there. I was paying way more attention to the cars that were revving and stuff. And I saw the bear mace come out, and then I heard the quick reports, just boom, boom, one right after the other. And I was like, that's different. That's dangerous. What am I going to do? And there's like a mailbox on that corner that I was waiting to hide behind. It's like a big steel, the mailboxes that have been being pulled out, and there's all the, a mailbox. Everybody knows what the big blue mailboxes look like. There was one of those, like,
that's where you vote, right?
In Washington we do, in Oregon we do. I don't know about everywhere else.
All right, so you're getting the shots ring out,
and I'm like policing my space. I'm like, okay, that's where I'm gonna hide. That's what's going on over there. And like the phone was on it, but my head was on a swivel the whole time. Where am I gonna go? What am I gonna do? And it was totally by accident that the phone was on, because I think I was crossing the street at the time when it happened. And like then as they're running one way and Jay turns and takes the few last steps, like that's when the bear mace hit me, and I was 30 feet away from it. And so by the time I saw him go face down, and the other guys were already gone up around the corner, like as far as I knew, they went north on 3rd and then hooked a west on Alder or whatever that corner was. I think it's Alder. And so they had booked out of the intersection, and that's when the bear mace hit me, and I was like just trying to stumble to a safe spot. And then like, what is going on? Is there going to be more? And then like in no time the cops were there. I mean, they must have been right at the other end of that block. Mm-hmm. Like they probably passed the guy in white as they were driving down the street, or if he ducked into the parking garage or something.
What happened? What did you feel in your body when the gunshots went out? Did you feel anything? Did you flinch? Did you crouch down? Like what happened?
No, I didn't crouch down, but like I just, I tensed up and froze probably more than anything, because I'm, a scared little non-fighter. Like I was like, oh no, like deer in the headlights. What's going on? Okay,
Yeah.
what's going to be safe? Where's going to be safe? Okay, is the danger over? You know, and then just the shock of watching the guy go down. And then the bear mace hit me, and I knew that I was not going to be of any assistance. Chihuahua. I knew that I was not going to be of any assistance to the victim at any point because I was incapacitated. You know, stay out of the, if you're hurt, stay out of the scene. Let the more hurt of the individuals get taken care of. It's not, you know, I'm not, I'm not the one that's in the most trouble here by any means necessary. So just sit down and shut up and wait your turn.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I wasn't, yeah.
All right, so here we go. We queued it up again.
So there they are.
Damn, there they are right there.
Where's the girl in the silver and black dress? That's what nobody's asking. Who's she?
Which one?
She was with them.
These three people here?
On the left. She was with them the whole time. Like over at the other side of the intersection, if you back it up, you can see her over there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who she is. I don't know who the other guy is. But the guy walking with them is the other one that runs away after the shooting happens.
That would be subject number 2 as identified in the police report. Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I heard the detectives notified me that it was going to be released and that my statement was going to be released.
It was released today. Okay, so you're just looking down the other way of the street, and now you turn back this way when the shooter has come down the street, taking right in front of you.
I think he was watching my camera view, so he didn't get in it.
What makes you think that?
Because if you back it up a little bit, he's with them, and then he separates off because they go down. I think they go down one side of me, and he goes down the other.
Right. So there he is, right there. You're right.
So this is black and silver dress, and number 2, and I think that the white clothes individual is to their right. So like way out of range.
This is pretty bad luck on your part. You see this, you see the, hey, give the video.
The camo Crocs I got, but the other guys I don't.
So
see, I think
there's the shooter right there.
No, this is silver dress and victim number suspect number 2.
Right there. Right? Those sandals right there. He just walked.
That was his feet.
Yeah, dude. He walked across the crosswalk right at you, but you had the camera down, unfortunately, there.
Unfortunately. So he's behind camo Crocs guy.
There he is, right there on the white line, right there.
Oh God, right. Holy crap.
So you just noticed that just
now? Never realized he was right there before, because I've always focused on camo Croc guy. Just be like, that's the guy that was telling me to give it away. Yeah. And I was like, I'm gonna give it away. I promise you, I 100% am going to do that.
Yeah. So the shooter walked right directly at you. The shooter walked directly at you right here. 16, 15, right there on the right.
Yeah. I almost got him. There. Now I'm down. Yeah. Damn.
The leverage on your pool cue of a selfie stick is quite a bit. Right? It sucks that you just move your hand a little bit and all of a sudden you can't see. So now you turned, I guess that's north. Now you've turned back south.
That was east. Now we're heading south.
South, there we go.
Now we're heading south.
Okay, so is he talking to those two right there?
No idea. I didn't even register that those 3 were a thing until I went back and looked at it, later on.
Does he look up to his left and talk to them right there? Sure does.
Does he?
Yep, right there.
I don't know. It's so small.
Talking.
So they're together, and they were together on the other side of the intersection too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who jogger guy is. Can see this.
So you're.
Yeah. And this is the kind of stuff that I find and look at all the time. I'm like, oh my God, that's so pretty.
This is what made me think that you're stoned, dude. You're like,
I can understand that, bro. And I have been before, and I appreciate all the beautiful art and like the tag art and everything. That's just something that Like, it's beautiful. It's something that out of all the horror of the first 3 days of Portland getting messed up, when they came back in with the boards in the window on the windows, Portland chose to make locations for people to have art.
Yeah.
And here comes the Lotus and Bean on the left, and I was like, whoa, this is, we are open, promoting local businesses. It's another thing I do. Hey, come on down and eat, the Lotus and Bean. Like, I remember, I can hear that in my head right now.
I can hear the audio from the video in my headphones, but you can't hear it, so it's funny. All right, so who's this?
No idea.
Have you seen them before?
Not to register. I know what the vehicle looks like now because I've watched the video 100 times, but until a couple days ago, I didn't even register that was the car that had stopped up the hill.
Yeah.
No idea about it.
Yeah. What about this red car back there? Did you ever see that before too? Or
that's a car that has been around a bunch. Like that one and the other black Charger, they're around all the time because
who are
no idea. They block intersections for marches to go through and stuff like that. But I don't know who the individuals are, but they're I don't want to call them security for the BLM movement, but they help make sure that no one drives through crowds when people are on marches.
So you've seen this car, the red car, the Charger.
There's a white one too.
A white one. You've seen them more than one night out on the town blocking streets so that protesters can move around.
Well, like specifically at the federal building, they'll just park them in the intersection. They'll park them across the intersection, like nose to nose or bumper to bumper, and then they don't like cruise around. They just park them so that nobody can drive through that side of the crowd. And they're Chargers. So what's that? Oh yeah, that's where like coming up. My wife's like, "Hey, where are you? What are you doing? How much?" Anyway, my team is behind me all the way.
Good.
But mine too. They'll rev their engines. They're super loud. They got the pipes so you can hear them coming. And when I right around here is when I say, "Oh, good, there's revving engines." That's great, or I'm happy about that, or something like that.
Why did you say that?
Because I'm being sarcastic. Because right after that, I say, "Not really," and the reason I hate them and that they're triggers is because I was at the PPA the night the truck drove through, dragging the motorcycle, and almost took out the wall of moms, or the Moms for Black Lives United, and barreled through the fence. I was like 8 feet away from that. So that sound of revving engines is a trigger because of that night. So when I hear revving engines, I go head on a swivel trying to figure out if it's somebody trying to do harm, or if it's just somebody showing off their car, or if it, because you don't want a malactor running you down when you're trying to cross an intersection. Just, if you're paying attention to your selfie stick, you might get mowed down by some malactor that's been revving his engine. But if you hear the engines, that's a trigger for me because of that night at the PPA.
Right.
Yeah. You know about that one, right?
Not all the details, honestly, but
I mean, you know that it happened?
Yeah, I definitely know that it happened. Yeah.
The truck drove up on the sidewalk around the cars that were blocking the street and drove through the barricade, and then one of the protector bicycle motorcycles that do it, they line up and they block intersections with the motorcycles and just say, "Hey, we got a march coming through, just hold on for a second." He drove up and put his motorcycle in front of the truck, and then the truck vroom vroom and smashed over his motorcycle and almost got him, and then drove through. And the only reason that the Moms United for Black Lives didn't get mowed down because of that guy on the motorcycle giving the pause while the guy revved his engine to try to mow people down.
crazy.
So
So
like,
let's just establish this one more time. You have seen this car, the red car, and the eventual Charger, which I think pulls up at that stoplight there. I heard you just say revving the engines. There's the Charger. Okay.
like he was revving down the street, and then he's like, "Burp, okay, I'm at the stoplight now."
All
Like,
right,
that's a waste of gas.
bro, do you see any connection between that Charger and this guy?
The red Charger and the black Charger
And this SUV
the black
right
Jeep.
here? Yeah.
I not at the time, nor do I now. I don't register having seen that black SUV right there before. Have a smell.
By before you mean like before this conversation or before this incident?
Before this incident, yeah, I've never.
Got it.
That is not a car I recognize.
I love it when I hear the revving engines.
Mm-hmm. Not really. It kind of scares me. You heard me say not really. It kind of scares me.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Because it kind of scares me.
Yeah, I understand that. So the Charger pulls up to the red light. The white cars pass, and now you can see right there. Why do you think? Yeah, they definitely drove through the protesters in New York City last night.
Oh, my wife, he heard you. Yeah. No, they drove through the protesters in Portland last night.
Oh, in New York as well.
In New York as well, he says.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then after the protests last night, there was a girl that was just riding on her way home from work late night, and somebody hit her on her bicycle in the car, and she passed. So like that happened last night too. Like, what is the world is?
It is. But let's stay on talk right here. So it's at 18 minutes right here, and like we've just seen the black Charger pull up. He is stopped at the red light. You just said you're scared. You turn left, the two white cars pass, and then there's like the first chance that we see the shooter come out into the middle of the street. There's another person off to his right of that vehicle. Why do you think that black Jeep and that red Charger pulled up, revved their engines through a green light like that, and then just stopped right dead in the middle of the street? Why do you think they both stopped right there? Cars that you said earlier that you've seen around blocking traffic and being sort of like in charge or security or whatever.
I have no idea. I don't know what they were doing. Hey, puppy.
But you've noticed this in your review of the video before, right?
Yeah, and I don't know why they were stopped. I don't know. I'm not affiliated with any of the people at all in this situation. I don't know what they stopped for.
Yeah, no, dude, I hear you. You just you're the closest person to the scene that I've been able to talk to, and we've got the video, and you've got, the video says one thing, your vibes, and just like your spidey sense that you had up that night. That adds to it, and then of course you've had other people talking to you too. So I was just wondering if you had do you have any speculation as to why those two cars stopped right there? Cars that you'd seen around town doing.
Well, if you look real close, it looks like the guy in the white is talking to the car, is like having a conversation with the car on the right. So
that's the shooter there.
Yeah, but he comes around the back of that car in about 2.5 seconds. And I don't know if like he was coming across the street and those cars, I don't know.
Yeah, they're still stopped. And there's Jay right there, huh?
Yeah, it's super small on my phone, but
yeah, there's Jay in the cargo shorts.
Oh yeah, there he is. There I see his shorts.
Yep, and he just came through there. So we're about to hit the moment where there's like some shouting. What did you hear immediately before the shots fired?
I guess it sounded like, "Do you want to go?" But to me at the time, like, "Do you want to fight? You want to go?" That kind of thing. But going back, I've seen the other video, and that's not what they said. Like I said, I'm deaf as a post, and I was, 40 feet away, 50 feet away.
Yeah, that's true. It's not very close.
I was not close at all. What do you think
they've said now, like after listening?
That we got a couple of them right here, and I don't know. I can't tell who says it. Like, you can't match voices. It's hard to, because it's just two gravelly voices that are yelling. and I can't tell who says anything. I've had that same question asked by a bunch of people. Who do you think started the yelling? And I don't know. I don't know. To me, echolocation, like if a train's coming at you, it sounds different than it does if the train's pointed away from you. It sounded like the voices were pointed at me.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Yeah. So in the police report and in your earlier reports, you said that there was this sense that there was going to be a fight. But like, do you see anybody there in front of Jay that may be someone to fight?
That looks like the guy in the white. You know?
Yeah. That's it.
If I was expecting a fight, the two guys that are standing there in cargo shorts and the white shirt, that would be okay. There's gonna fight. Oh, yeah, wow.
But looking at this though, like the shooter comes across the street from the left, talks to the guy, or it looks like he's talking to the guy in the car, and then just walks right up to him. Didn't have any interaction with him prior to this moment at all. None. There was no fight. There was no conflict. There was no anything.
Nothing that drew my attention.
Yeah. And so there.
Then there's like two yells.
Yep.
It's like
boom,
back and forth yell. Mace, boom, boom.
The mace comes out. The mace comes out first.
Yeah. The mace came out first. Like the mace came out of the canister, and then there was two shots.
Yeah. Just gonna play one more time. There goes the cars in the white. Shooter comes
again. I can't hear it, so I can't.
Yeah. Right here. Mace.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom. And so then there's you can see
they
to the right of the screen. That's subject number 2, right?
Subject number 2 comes back in about 8 seconds, whatever.
Yeah. So there's shooter. Shooter is now off and running and going down the street. Right. And let's see what happens here. So who do you see this dude with the skateboard?
Yeah, he was on the sidewalk on the right. Like getting ready to go out. And I think he's a streamer because he like picks up his flashlight and stuff, and it looks like the flash on the top of his camera. So I'd be interested to see his video.
All right. So you
if
think
he was streaming at the time?
Skateboard guy may have a stream.
May.
There goes the SUV, the Charger, the second Charger. Shooter comes across the street. There's Jay, mace, shots, bow.
White truck obscures.
Yep.
Thanks, white truck. Different white truck, by the way, not the same white truck.
Right. So subject number 2 goes running, and then this
Shooter's
guy right here with
away.
Skateboard guy's walking around.
And he took a bunch of that mace, and he picks up his board right there.
Yeah.
And I think his like, see, there's his camera or his flash.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's his, like, because a lot of the streamers have their flash on top of their camera.
Looked like he was covering his face as he walked by you, didn't it?
We were all in a cloud of mace. He probably was covering his face from the mace.
Yeah, that's possible. So there's that black Charger. Who's that chick that gets out of the car?
I think she's the one that tries to help as a street medic, right?
Okay, so let's think about that for a second. That black Charger was sitting there waiting. Then those red car and the black car stop in the middle of the street. Then they yell out, here we got one. He shoots, the shooter shoots Jay. Jay goes down. The black Charger runs through the red light, who has just been sitting there idling and waiting, and out pops this chick.
Yeah, that lady goes over directly to him, and doesn't she try to offer assistance? If you just saw a shooting and you were sitting at a red light and you had somebody that could offer assistance to a downed victim, wouldn't you rev through the light to get that person to the situation to offer assistance faster?
I suppose
that's why they were stopped at the red light, because it was a red light
there too, and you're like, I'm not going to be able to help anybody here
because I got mace in my face.
That's true. They didn't get maced, but
they did not. They were in a car, and see how fast the cops got there.
Yeah,
like they were just up the street. So
yeah, in the police report, You said to the cops that you thought you saw Jay reach into his pocket or reach for a gun.
Reach for the bear mace. Reach for something. He pulled up something, and a cloud of bear mace erupted. That's what I assume.
Yeah,
that's what I assume he pulled. He probably had one. I don't know. The mace there, because his Papa sets down a can of mace in the other video. He sets it down right beside him, and then there was a can of mace that had a hole through it. So probably the giant cloud erupted when the bullet went through his can of mace. If I had to guess.
Yeah, that was
so when he brought it up and shot the mace, they shot right through his can and got him. That weaponry should never be brought to a protest. Never. Nobody should have weaponry at a protest. None. No knives, no guns, no paintball guns. Leave it at home. No screws through shields, no firearms, no sidearms, none of that. That doesn't belong in these situations. I'm completely and 100% against violence at the protests. It's horrible what happened. Unequivocally, I denounce violence of any kind. I just want that point blank clear. I had nothing to do with any of this. The theories going around that I was connected to these cars in any way, shape, or form, I had nothing to do with it. I want to dispel that hard, because I didn't. I'm just a silly guy with a selfie stick. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, or the right place at the right time, depending on how you look at it. Because I'm the only one that had evidence that could clue us into what actually happened at all, and I gave it up right quick.
Yeah.
I afforded it to the proper authorities right now.
Yeah, you did. I mean, that guy was harassing you to turn it over or whatever.
Dude, I'm taking care of it. I will handle it, bud. I'm waiting until the situation allows me to.
Right, I hear you. Oh. I hear you on that. All right, let's watch a little bit more again. There they are running away. I want to just dispel something. People are trying to say that
there's number two.
Number two is
number
back.
2. Yeah.
Number 2 is back. So your take, just from watching the video and knowing what you know and seeing what you saw, there's clearly more than one person involved here. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 3, if not 4.
Well, who do you think the third and the fourth are?
Number 2.
Yeah.
And Jay's friend. That's a foursome. And
so
there was Jay and Pappas and white clothes and black clothes.
Right.
Suspect number 1 and suspect number 2.
Right. So, but do you think suspect number 1 and suspect number 2 were they're working together on this? They planned it?
I don't think I planned. I have no way to know what I don't think this was a planned action. I think it was dickheads being dickheads. Hey, we're gonna fight. Okay, let's fight. No, this is out of hand. Now somebody's dead because some asshole brought weaponry to a protest.
The asshole being the shooter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michael R., whatever his last name is.
Yeah, I don't. He's deceased now.
Yeah. Well, in contrast to what you said, and only to make this contrast, when he went out on Vice, he said he wanted to start a war.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't watched it.
He wanted to start a war. What do you
see? Dickhead, asshole. That's totally terrible. I'm sorry. Can I don't mean to cuss on your
go for it, bro. Go for it. I mean, we're talking about and watching people get murdered. You can say fuck.
Yeah. Okay. That's a totally terrible act to perpetrate. Why would you? The Black Lives Matter movement has come a long way. They've established goals. They have created a message. They've been working towards equality. They've been working with authorities. They've been doing all the things that they need to do to make the movement grow and be beautiful and achieve the goals. And then for you to inject this awful shit into that, what a selfish, fucked up thing to do. You have permanently scarred the issue, and that is it's untenable. You cannot. That's awful. It's just so horrible that someone had to lose their life. So awful. There should not be loss of life in this situation. I feel so bad that I'm sitting on the back of the riot van for 2 hours, and I streamed the whole time because I didn't know how to process it other than to just start getting my emotions out, because all of that, if you bottle that in when you witness something horrible like that, it starts to eat away at you.
Yeah.
And I had 77 little therapists there, I think is what I say in that video. And there's, the police were like, hey, due to the severity of the situation, if you wanted to stop streaming, that would be fine. But also, we're not telling you that you have to stop streaming. And I'm like, it's gonna be right here the whole time. I think I turned it around twice to like just show the 2 blocks of caution tape where they had cordoned off the streets ahead of me. And then there was when they had Pappas, and he was so emotionally distraught, like you would be when some terrible shit happened to your friend. That they took him over and put him in the stairwell over there, and like they cuffed him for, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. They're like, hey buddy, you're overreacting towards us. We're gonna help you calm down. Here's some handcuffs for you. We're gonna take you over here and set you down. And they uncuffed him real shortly thereafter, and that's where he sat for the rest of the time. So I was there longer than him because they took a deposition from him first. And then, the detectives, it was 2 hours or something before they had processed the scene and got around to me. Yeah. So there was 2 hours between the event and me.
Right.
And one of those videos, like I went on for longer than I should have about the awful injection into the situation of firearms, and it's just, unequivocally, I would never ever carry a gun into that situation, not even for self-protection as a streamer. Like, I'm in a t-shirt and a white helmet. That's my, I don't have shoulder pads, I don't have arm guards, like literally a t-shirt and a helmet. That's what I got. I got pants on and hard toe boots because I don't like getting stepped on when the cops are rushing us. But like I'm not, I would never ever in a million years carry any kind of armament or weaponry into a situation like that. It's just not going to happen. I don't agree with it. I don't.
Have you ever, like, do you ever like go to the gun range or anything?
No. I've been shooting one time, and like, I'm from Oklahoma originally, so guns are a huge part of my family's, like, it's food, that's, you go out and you shoot or trap an animal and you skin it, you eat the meat, and you sell the hide, and that's food and extra money. That's your gas money, your beer money, your go buy more bullets money. I never did that. I shot a bird with a BB gun one time, and I had a funeral for it. I boxed it up and like said a prayer, and I got the Bible out and found the proper verses to say my sorrow, and I worried about its brothers and sisters and mom and dad. Like, that's the kind of guy I am. If I feel bad about smushing a spider, but they got too many legs, so I'm gonna go ahead and smush a spider. That's where my love goes down for 8 legs.
I hear you. All right,
but no, I'm not. I've never been to a gun range. It was out on my buddy's land, and we were shooting old TVs and cinder blocks and stuff, And I was back in Kansas. But guns, I got nothing against guns. That shoot guns all you want out at the range, out on your land, when you're hunting, when you're trapping, when you're doing all those things, but don't bring that shit into a civilized situation.
Do you think it's weird, man? Like, I just cannot get over the fact that, where are we? Let's go back here. 17, here we go, 18 minutes. That I'm pointing to it, but you guys can't see it. That black SUV, dude, it's just stopped in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
And then right here, bow. and then it stays. I can't get past that, man. And you did say earlier you had seen it around town before, blocking traffic, managing,
The
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 protest routes.
no, the red and the black car are the ones that I've seen do that. The black SUV, I don't know. I don't know that car.
I see. So the two
Yeah.
Chargers in particular, you say?
Yeah, and there's a white Charger that's got like green under effects, like the lights that shine out the bottom of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that one's got a way louder engine than those two. So,
was this the first time you got the mace in the eyes?
mace, yeah, I've been tear gassed and stuff before, but that's the first time with mace, and that shit hits different. Like it's so much more painful, so much more quickly. Bear mace is not something that I want in me ever again.
Yeah, so the
like
police
my face burned, the sting. Yeah,
the police report said that it was discharged and then it was shot. So the whole can probably released.
Yeah, so that's way more than is typically extolled in any instance.
Did you see anybody picking anything up on the ground?
No, I didn't, but I know that the cops found a casing because it was to my left by about 4 feet where I was sitting for 30 minutes.
Wait,
and then in that other video, when they asked me to get up off of the van, I'm like, oh, they're looking for the second casing. Like they had the tent over the first casing and they were looking for the second one.
Yeah, the police report says that they found one full casing and then a partial.
Oh, gotcha.
And that would make sense that the partial casing was found if it was the one that went through the can. I don't know. Actually, I take that back. I don't know exactly how that works.
All
right, so you didn't see anybody.
The casing wouldn't have gone through the can.
Right.
I would have ejected. I guess that's what casings do.
You didn't see anybody picking anything up off the ground.
No, and the second canister winds up. There's a manhole cover just to the right over here, and that's where they found the second canister, the one with the hole in it.
Right. And
no, I didn't see anybody policing the scene or hiding anything or anything like that. Plus, by this time, I could barely see anything.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Like, by this time, I could, I was like, because this is before the police, so I had my left hand and I was trying to open my eyes and close them to make more water come out, and I was doing that whole thing. And hey, please, water eyes. Oh my God, I didn't have my goggles on. I didn't have my impact goggles down. I was just walking along the street looking at pretty art.
Talking about burritos.
And then the cops, in one of the later videos, they brought in 15 burritos and they didn't even give me one. The cop comes in and he says something about there's mace in the air, watch your eyes. And I'm like, eyes, yes, my eyes hurt. Do you have stuff for eyes? Do you have eye stuff things or whatever stupid thing I said?
Yeah. Man.
And I could hardly talk because it was in my throat.
All right. We have a million people. You mind taking a couple questions?
Yeah, they got to be quick though, because we were supposed to do 30 minutes and we're an hour and a half. What in the heck? That time flew.
Yeah, well, I'm good at my job. I'll take a couple questions.
Yeah. Keep them talking.
Take a couple of questions from the audience. Let's see.
And I don't know has to be an acceptable answer.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, I can hear you in my ears. I can hear you going on about the mace. I have had that in my eyes. It sucks.
It's awful.
Yeah.
So bad.
So do you have any let me see what the chat says here. Any questions? Here's some straight ones. Had you ever met Michael R. before the shooter?
No.
Had you ever seen him around? Not
to notice. I don't know. He might be in one of the 70 hours of footage that I have, but I wouldn't.
Right.
No.
And if you think that this is Antifa and what Antifa does, is that still something that you can get behind?
Again, Antifa is not an organization. They're not a movement. What I get behind is the Black Lives Matter movement and the organizational message that they put out of equality for everybody, of lifting everybody up to the same location and stopping police brutalities. That's the message that I can get behind. Antifa, I don't even know if Antifa has a message. I don't even know if they have a message board. I'm not part of that. So
Huh. You never heard of anybody from Antifa communicating or handbooks or anything like that?
oh yeah, everybody's heard like all the conspiracy theories about Antifa having what is it, the anarchist cookbook? Is that the one
No,
that's been around since like the 60s?
No, it's called the Anti-Fascist Handbook, and it has the flag on it, and it's like how to organize your Antifa cell.
No, they put out a book. That seems counterintuitive for that organization.
Well,
No, I've never heard of that book.
Allow me to just tell you one thing. It's very well organized. There's a handbook. There's chapters, affinity groups, funding, coordination of all kinds.
Okay,
so you've never heard of anything like that?
No, this is all news. That's news to me. No, like I'm in a union. I'm in a theater union. I've been in a stagehand union. Like I dig unions of all kinds, but no, I've never been never been privy to that information until this. I was today years old when I found that out.
Yeah, well, there's quite a bit out there. Would you ever go out again?
Oh yeah,
and do more?
As soon as my wife says it's okay. Yeah, I mean that's the driving force in all of my decisions is whether or not I am going to cause discomfort to my loved ones. And like knowing that so many people were worried about me in that situation and were concerned about my well-being in that situation, that I put them through that emotion, that really touches me in a way that I don't want to be touched again.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to put people through that emotional journey of worrying about my well-being. And so when I feel that it's safe to go back out again, and when my wife feels that it's safe to go back out again, I will. I'm sad because tonight's 100 nights. Tonight's the centennial night, and I'm not there because there's fear for me, and I don't want there to be fear for me. I want to be safe. I want everybody to know that I'm safe.
I hear that. Did you talk to anybody before you did your press circuits and this little speaking, engagements that you've done? Anybody prep you?
Well, I mean,
anybody help figure out?
No, much to my chagrin, I probably look like a douchebag the whole time.
Well, yeah.
No agents, no preppers, no speechification. Like I grew up as an actor, so I know how to speak. I know how to project my voice. Yeah, I know how to enunciate. But no, I was not coached by anyone or told what not to say or any of that stuff. I probably should have checked into that, but
no lawyers, no anything.
No, not at all. And like my driving force for it was this needs to be seen by everyone. Yeah. Everyone. I gave permission to almost everyone. Like RT, I didn't give permission to because that's Putin's paper, and I felt a little odd by that. But like people that wanted to buy it, I was like, no, I don't want anybody to have control of it. I was approached by 3 different organizations. I was like, no, you give me 100% of the money and I have 100% of the control. Cool, we'll do that. But I'm not letting you have any control, and I'm not letting you have any of the money because I'm not making money. I haven't made a dime off of this ever. I haven't ever put up my Venmo. I haven't ever put up a Cash App. The only time on any of my streams that I've ever asked anybody to donate to anything was there was a lady who was going to the march, the celebration march in DC last week, and she wanted to raise money to help her 10-year-old daughter go so that she could take her daughter with her. And I was like, hey guys, let's kick her some coins so that she can get her kid to the march. And that's the only time I've ever asked for money for anything.
Got it.
On this, because this is not a money-making adventure for me. This was something to fill my time, and for me to help the people that are afraid to go down there because of COVID-19, that are afraid to go down there because they get nervous around crowds, that are too young to go down there. Here, this is like my 7-year-old nephew watches with my mom while she's, when she's watching them for the night, so my sister and her husband can go out. She's like, oh, this is what Uncle Justin's doing tonight. He's walking around and there's a bunch of shouting and stuff, and he'll sit there and watch it and ask questions about what are they mad about, what are they happy about, oh, why are they dancing, because they're happy, and for like the kids and the people who want to stay at home and stuff like that, it's a democracy field trip. We're going to go along, we're going to see some protest pups, we're going to see some democracy dogs, we're going to check out some cool art. That's what we're going to do. I never did I want, maybe we're going to catch some tear gas. That's part of democracy. Maybe we're going to get some flashbangs. If that happens, then I'll try to avoid them because I don't like getting hit with flashbangs.
I know. The first time I got hit with one, it scared the shit out of me. I had no idea what was coming. It was the first night that they had been used. There had just been firecrackers, and all of a sudden, dude, boom, landed on my head.
It's a different noise.
Yeah,
it is loud as shit.
Yeah. I got one question that came through that's good. Tell us why revving the engines bothered you, but gunshots, look, if it were me and somebody got shot right in front of me, I would go, oh, fuck, double fuck. What the fuck? That guy just got fucking shot. What the fuck? Fuck. That would be me.
Right.
That's just me.
Right. So you ever been in a fight?
Yeah.
Been in a bunch of fights?
I mean, I'm a trained fighter.
Yeah. So like I froze when the gunshots went off. When somebody punches you in the face, you punch them back. Somebody punches me in the face, I'm going to turn around and run and be like, hey, why are you punching me? It's totally different reactions. Everybody reacts different ways to different things. Yeah. And the reason I reacted when the cars rev is because I was down at the PPA when that truck drove through all the people, and the revving engine right before he took the bike down, that sticks with you. When you hear the revving engine and then you see a motorcycle get smashed and it's dragged scraping by 34 moms wearing yellow, that's a thing that sticks with you, and that right there, that becomes a trigger for you to put your head on a swivel. Yeah. So then the gunshots, I was like, that was a gunshot. Like, I didn't say a word. If you watch any of my streams, I'm a jabberjaw, and I shut completely up.
You are, dude. Burritos and lotus flowers.
Yeah, I shut completely up that whole time. I froze.
Yeah.
It's, whatever that makes me, if that makes me weak, if that makes me, that's my response to that situation. And I got, like, there's no shame in that in my mind. If I freeze under gunfire, then I'm going to freeze under gunfire. And that's something that I know now. Yeah. I didn't know that before that night.
Most people will. One last question for you, buddy. One last question. Black Lives Matter. One of their main issues
Black Lives Matter
is promote non-traditional families and sort of like bust up the family. But you, man, you strike me as like a family man. You're there with your wife. You got 3 kids. You got to talk to your wife about doing shit, which is the way most of America works. Like, do you support that message?
I didn't know that was a message of theirs.
It is.
I don't know.
They on their website, one of the mission points is to disrupt the nuclear family. Did you know
what does that mean? No. What does that mean?
That's a really good question, don't you think? I'm going to pull it up for you right now. Black Lives Matter. Because, it's like what I have discovered along doing this stuff is that people, can get behind the message, right? It's like, yeah, everybody's lives matters. We don't want to see people die. We don't want to see people get hurt.
All lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter.
Right. And I hear you on that. But then, you start to dig into it, and then there are a lot of other issues that they are pushing that don't have anything to do with that. And I'm not here to like sour you on this, man.
Pardon me. Like, sorry about that.
But I just thought it would be, it's just, we've been talking so long. I just thought maybe I would get your take on this. Here it is.
I'm a sponge for information. I love information.
Oh, okay. Well,
I like learning.
Then you might like to see what this says right here. We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another. That's great.
Okay.
To the degree that
Takes a
mothers,
village to
parents,
raise a child.
I know, but this part right here, and I don't want to belabor this, but we disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure. Disrupt.
Okay.
Does that sound like something? Does that sound good?
That sounds like poor phrasing on my part, or
That's not
on their part.
Yeah, well, they've
You know, I
been
mean, I think that that's a thing that is probably a response to the fact that way too many fathers are incarcerated at an early age for teeny tiny crimes and spend so much of their lives in jail. It's a disproportionate rate that that African American males are arrested and incarcerated for extended amount of times for very tiny things. And I think that might be a response to just a way to deal with that and answer that in a village, takes a village kind of way. Like I don't think they're trying to break down mother, father, father, children, families. I think that when I read that, I think somebody needs to go back and spell check. Like, is disrupt the word that you were looking for there?
It's been there for years, bro, and
that doesn't mean they don't need a spell check.
They've defended it over and over and over again. But listen,
really?
man, I don't want to hassle you in any way about that. I really do appreciate all the time that you have put into this. I'm glad that you didn't get shot out there, dude.
Me too.
You know, from one human to another, I suggest you keep your head on a big swivel down there, dude. And you know, I keep my face covered all the time. You may want to take a look into that yourself as well, buddy.
I wear the face mask for the most part. It's the face cover. But it's, you know, I'm out there. It's me. It's big dumb dad with a stick. You know.
I'm feeling that vibe for you, bro. So I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate all of that, and just you know, good luck with things, and you know, do a little bit more digging, buddy, because as a good family man, I think that you might see some conflict in some of what you think it's all about and what it really is all about, and that's all I'll say for that. And if you ever want to,
I got conflict about bull riding too. You know, yeah, send me some links to some of that material. I'd love it. Like, bull riding's awful fun to watch, but I don't think the bull gets the better end of it enough, you know?
It definitely doesn't. All right, Justin, have a good night. Spend the night with your family, and I appreciate everything. Thank you very much, dude.
Hey, Jack Murphy, well met, new friend. Yeah, keep in touch.
All right, likewise, Justin. Thank you very much.
Be safe out there.
All right, bye-bye. All right, everybody. He's gone. It's just us. I can see your comments. What do you guys think, man? Crazy. I think I got in most of the questions, and I think I gave him plenty of time to chat it all through. What do you guys think about all that? He's a liar. I don't know how I feel. I got to process that. He out of all the weird and funny issues that were to be seen in that video, I think that the cameraman being in on it was a little bit out there for me. But you know, I'm not sure. I don't have any answers. It's just fascinating to hear his perspective and to see, you know, what his ideas were and what his experience was like. And I appreciate you guys watching, and I'm sure people will be going through this to see what he said and if it all lined up, and reading body language and whatever else here. So thanks everybody for following. Thanks for all the support lately. You guys have been amazing. Twitter is just absolutely going bonkers right now. Thank you very much. Welcome to all the new followers. If you're watching on stream, please follow me at Jack Murphy Live on Twitter. Check out the website, jackmurphylive.com, YouTube, Jack Murphy Live, Jack Murphy Live all over the internet. Oh, and the podcast. The podcast is getting started once again. kicking off with Michael Anton and about his new book called The Stakes. So check that out, jackmurphylive.com/podcast. And I appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys for all checking in. And, let's just keep digging and figure these things out. And I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.